accidental discharge on the firing range. It can happen to any one of us. What does your agency do when you have an officer during qualification or practice on the firing range have an accidental discharge? 38 years, a little over 38 years in government, and every position I held, I had to have a weapon and weapons qualification. I am so thankful that it never happened to me, but it could have. It could have happened on any day that I was out there practicing or qualifying. So, number one, we have to remember we're all human and we all make mistakes. Now, let's discuss what happens when you have an accidental discharge. It's very dangerous, and we don't have enough people, in my opinion, thinking and taking the range seriously. I've worked both state prison and county jails and military. And I will say that in the military, they really came down hard on you if you didn't get out there and act serious about the range. They knew it was a very dangerous situation. And many firearms instructors in the state prison system and the county I have seen run that range with a strong hand, and you have to. And there's a lot of people that get upset when the range instructors run the range, the firing range, with a strong hand. Well, folks, there's a reason they do that. It's a dangerous place. You're out there qualifying next to your fellow officers, and many of your fellow officers only shoot a weapon once a year. You know that, and I know that. Now, there's a lot of us that own weapons, and we shoot weapons on a regular basis, and we do it as a hobby, and we enjoy it as a sport. Many people that I know have shot weapons for sport in competition. Now, I myself, in all those years, have never been a firearms instructor, but I am a gun owner, and I do enjoy my right, my Second Amendment right. Now, with that said, those people that only shoot once a year and they're told to go out and practice on their own, many agencies are even supplying the ammunition to allow you to take your duty weapon and go out and practice, and they're not doing it. And then here comes range day, and they are not practicing safety, and they have an accidental discharge. Okay, what does your agency do about that? Most agencies have suspended officers for a few days without pay, given them remedial firearms training, and then let them requalify, and we go back to business as usual. Now, I know that a lot of the street officers, when they do not qualify in our area, and for some reason they don't qualify, their weapon is taken away from them immediately, and their patrol car is left at the range, and they have to come back for remedial training, and they will get their weapon and their patrol car back after they qualify. And the same goes for the folks that are working in the jail. If they do not qualify, then they have to come back the next morning at 8 a.m. for remedial and shoot until they qualify. It's a very serious thing. Now, I'm going to show you some things now that are not pretty to see. These are fire range accidents. These are injuries from fire range accidents. This might wake you up. If you haven't taken firearms safety seriously up to this point, I hope you're still watching the video at this point, because no matter what I say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you don't want to hear what I have to say, then look at these pictures of what can happen to you with accidental firearm discharge on the firing range. And these pictures that I'm showing you right now should hopefully wake you up. The firing range is no place to laugh or joke. The firing range is a place where you must listen to your instructors and be quiet. Shut your trap. We don't need to hear your stories and laughter and jokes. It's not a place to joke. The firearm instructors should be scolding you when you open your mouth. They should be scolding you when you turn around to look at them. You should be facing forward towards your target. Do not turn to your buddy on the left or right and have a conversation like you're having lunch together. And by all means, keep that weapon pointed down range and finger off the trigger. And do not turn to laugh and talk with your partner on your left or your right with a weapon in your hand. Folks, it happens. It happens all the time. Firearms safety. If you're going to wear a uniform, you need to practice firearms safety at all times. We do not want you to injure a fellow officer or an instructor on the range. Now, there are a few statistics that have been taken, and I think it's around 41% of the time. I'll put the chart right up here so you can see it. Or 41 or 46% of the time, you'll see it up here on my over my shoulder. When an accidental discharge harms not the person with the weapon, but the other people around you. Nothing could be worse than to have that on your conscience, that you have injured a fellow officer by an accidental discharge. You know, assuming that the weapon has been fired, all rounds have been fired, but you must clear the weapon properly several times and fire down range to make sure when your instructors tell you to do so. The rest of the time, you keep that weapon pointed down range until we know that weapon is clear and empty. But yet we still have so many discharges. We've had people that are totally done with qualification on the range at the weapons cleaning area. Yes, the weapons cleaning area. Your weapon's supposed to be totally cleared on that range before you leave. And we've had an accidental discharge at the weapons cleaning table. What is going on? We must pay close attention. Safety, firearms safety is imperative for you as well. Those pictures that I was showing you earlier of those accidental discharges were not only of someone next to you having an accidental discharge, but people themselves having an accidental discharge and blowing their own finger off or their own thumb off. Please be careful. It's scary. It's scary, but you need to get comfortable with practice, training, and safety training on the firearms range. Once you become comfortable, you don't let your guard down, but you become more proficient and you become a safer person. But if you only go out and shoot once a year and the rest of the year you forget about your weapon, you say, hey, I qualified, I'm good for another year. Well, there's several reasons why that's a no-go. You need to practice when your agency gives you the opportunity to practice because, number one, it's not just about safety and accidental discharge. It's about what if you come into a confrontation and you need that weapon. Some of us carry the weapon 24/7 right here on our side. Others carry it on hospital watch, transport, perimeter duty. What if you face a confrontation and you've only shot that weapon once a year and you don't have the knowledge? We had a officer in a tower at Henry Correctional Institution, Florida. An escape was going on. The inmates used mattresses and they went over the fence, folks. And the officers tried to fire a warning shot and then tried to fire at the inmate escaping. Forgot where the safety was, and there were some other issues. Just did not have enough training with the shotgun. No gun knowledge. And the inmate got away. Was later caught in the swamps down there by Henry Correctional Institution. But still, This could have stopped and prevented an escape with a warning shot. And then if the warning shot was not taken, taken into heed by the inmate, then they could have fired upon the inmate. But anyway, that's just another reason why you must have gun knowledge. You get into these jobs and you only qualify once a year and then forget about your weapon. Listen, this weapon is a big part of your job. It's a big part of your safety, other safety, and a big part of saving lives. Okay, we have these weapons. It is our duty to know firearm safety, know how to clear our weapon properly, and know to keep that weapon down range at all times when clearing the weapon. And do not leave the range or holster your weapon until properly approved by a firearms instructor. I think I've said enough to get the message across on why it is so important and the dangers we face by carrying a firearm. Those of you at work and at home, please stay safe with your weapons. Always shoot straight and stay in your lane, please, for the safety of all of us who carry a firearm and for all of the citizens that we protect on the street. Thank you for watching Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe.